Stop the presses! Hold the phone! There's a new budget Pixel phone! Whoa! What happened in the last few days was, well, none of that. The Google Pixel 6a seems like it pretty much came and went. Mine arrived while I was on vacation, and I came back to find a whole lot of coverage that didn't really seem all that excited about it. And that is a little weird to me, because when you look at this phone, and you look at that price tag, it kind of seems like an unbeatable deal. And yet, nobody really seems to care about it. So today I don't want to talk about the Google Pixel 6a. I want to talk about why Google can sit around and put out some really great phones and nobody seems to bat an eyelash, but when Apple puts out a phone that's mediocre at best, everyone goes crazy for it. Why is that? Now, I'm certainly not new to iPhones, but I'm also not new to Pixel phones. In fact, Google has sent me every phone they've made, starting with the Pixel 3 back in 2018. So I've got quite the collection. And every time a new Pixel phone comes out, I'm always pleasantly surprised. There's always fun stuff to like about these phones. I mean, the Pixel 4 XL had great colors, great cameras, it had a 90 Hz display, and it had that Google gesture motion chip that was kind of gimmicky but cool. Then there was the Pixel 5, which had a metal back but still had wireless charging. There's always some fun stuff, but they've all looked generally boring, and especially the entry-level phones have always been a little bit basic feeling. But then the Pixel 6 Pro came around and things started to change. This is now a really attractive and very exciting looking phone, although I have to say the 7 and 7 Pro I think are actually a step backwards in terms of their looks. But now we have the new Pixel 6a, their new budget device. And while it has gone up in price, it's also gone dramatically up in visual quality. The materials here, the design, the look of this phone is way more premium than $450 would imply. But hey, I guess that's not really surprising because mostly it shares the same internals and the same design with the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, which are very attractive devices. I actually think the 6 Pro looks better than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And yet, I got this phone for free and I didn't switch to it. I instead gave Apple my own money for an iPhone. Why do I do that? I mean, you take a look at the iPhone SE and my gosh, this thing kinda sucks by comparison. It's got a 5-year-old design, which is itself kind of almost an 8-year-old design. It doesn't have an OLED display. It doesn't have good battery life. It doesn't have very good or very many cameras, and it doesn't have that great of a user experience. You've got a very small 4.7-inch display, massive bezels on top and bottom, and it's 60 Hz LCD. It's very, very boring. The only thing going for the iPhone SE is it's the cheapest way to get an iPhone on 5G, and it has the newest chip in it. Both of those are true of the Pixel 6a. Granted, Google's Tensor chip is nowhere near Apple's A15, but it's adequate. Things are fast enough for a $450 phone. The cameras are significantly better than the 5-year-old 12-megapixel single shooter on the iPhone SE. This is an objectively better phone. And so it does make you wonder, how did Apple get such a lock on people? Basically, since 2019, I have seen a lot more negative sentiment in the news and rumor cycle for the iPhone than I had in years before. Even with exciting phones like the iPhone 12 in 2020, there was a lot more doom and gloom than there was excitement, at least from what I saw on Twitter, YouTube comments, and article comments. But despite the fact that people seem to be quite bored with what Apple is doing with the iPhone these days, they're still more than happy to be forking over cash every year or every other year to keep up with the trend. But one of the main reasons why I think that's the case has nothing to do with hardware As much as Apple loves to talk about, you know, the new colors, or we made the cameras go diagonally, or now there's got promotion on there. They love to talk about it, but that's not why people are actually buying them. Buying an iPhone is a cascading cycle of upgrades. Because let's say you're starting fresh, right? You're a teenager. All of your friends have iPhones. So of course, that's what you're gonna want for Christmas or your birthday. So there you go, you got your new iPhone. But now you might as well get AirPods, because everyone knows that AirPods are the best wireless headphones for having an iPhone. So you gotta get those next. And then let's say you're on the track and field team. So why not get an Apple Watch, because it just goes with the iPhone and the earbuds. And then you're off to college. Well, now you're gonna have to get a MacBook, because you can use iMessage on it while you're sitting in class and should be taking notes, but who wants to do that? So you gotta have iMessage, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I've got AirDrop. I can share things back and forth. I've got handoff. I can copy something on my phone and paste it on my Mac, and boom, all of a sudden you have got yourself a full Apple ecosystem. And after you're done doing all of that, you get that whole ecosystem, well, chances are your iPhone battery is running a little low after 2 or 3 years, so you might as well go buy the newest one. A Pixel phone doesn't even cross your mind. It's not a factor at all. And that's the case for me. I mean, as a tech reviewer, I like to try to have wide experiences and know how to use a lot of devices. But when it comes time to get a new phone that I'm going to use every single day, it's an iPhone, no question. And that's not just true for us techies, that's also true for normal everyday people. In fact, I wanted to get a perspective from a normal everyday person, so I asked my girlfriend what she thought of the new Pixel phone. This is Shay, she's perfectly normal, she doesn't care about tech news at all. Hey, what are your thoughts on the new M2 MacBook Air thermal throttling?
No thoughts, head empty.
So there you go, the proof's in the pudding. She doesn't give a crap about any of this stuff. So this is the new Google Pixel 6a. It's their entry-level phone, and it's sort of designed to be a budget phone that looks and feels a little bit more like a high-end phone. And so I guess the question is, with a phone like this that's half the price of the iPhone, is there anything that it could do that would get you to switch and save $550?
I couldn't see myself switching to this phone just because I have so many other things that work with my iPhone, like the AirPods, my MacBook, and my Apple Watch. And like all of that combined is way more than like the $400 savings. There's so many features on like the iPhone that I do like iMessage.
And you would definitely feel like removed from your friends if you became a green bubble.
I would instantly be cut off, and no one would ever talk to me. They'd
shut you out completely.
Yeah, I can tell that it's like a budget phone. It's giving Shein, but it feels kind of plasticky.
It's glass. It's still glass.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it looks as nice, but honestly, I'm definitely very biased.
How often do you upgrade iPhones?
I don't upgrade that much because I have bad luck with phones. I dropped my old phone into a river.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Androids are probably bad. I just feel like I've been using my iPhone for so long. Like, I don't know, on a shallow level, I do like it better than an Android phone, like, and how it looks, and like, I don't know, like, if I think about it, like, if I lost this phone today, like, I wouldn't try to go look for an Android phone. Like, it would be so annoying. I'd have to, like, get all my iCloud photos and, like, put them onto that phone, and then like none of my texts would like get back onto that phone too. None of my notes, like nothing from that phone would go onto that, which is like a cool thing about like if you get a new iPhone, like you just hold the phone to the new phone and then like it's just everything's there. Like that's so nice.
I mean, I guess that's probably intentional, right? If you can just hold your old phone up to your new phone and then everything just goes over exactly as it was, that alone is probably going to get people to just upgrade instead of switching. So to summarize your thoughts, phone seems nice.
I don't hate it. I don't like love it. Like it's not something I'm like, I want this phone, but it's not like disgusting. I mean, I probably wouldn't like buy it myself, but if somebody else had it, I'd be like, okay. I mean, I wouldn't text them, but
you wouldn't text them. It doesn't really matter if this phone is good or not. It's not really a factor. That's the hold that Apple has over us. Anyway, back to the video. So, the Google Pixel 6a. Is it a fantastic phone? Yes, it is. Does it have some drawbacks? Sure. The bezels, they look a little bit thick compared to other Pixel devices. You don't have wireless charging, which is confusing because it has a glass back, so that's definitely a bummer. The screen is only 60 Hertz, and it definitely looks a little bit choppy, and when you're looking at it in off-axis environments, it's definitely a budget OLED panel. But at the end of the day, it's a $450 phone that looks super fresh and modern, has an in-display fingerprint reader, has an OLED display, has multiple cameras and the same chip as the latest flagship phones, and 5G, and USB-C. You can't go wrong. This is a great phone. And so if you are not tethered to the Apple ecosystem, I recommend it. Heck, why not? That's a great deal. And I'm sure, give it a couple of months, you'll be able to find these things for like $400 or $379. And yet, it's not nearly as exciting or going to be as popular as an iPhone. That's just the nature of the game. Apple has this whole market super cornered. They've been working for 25 years to get this done. Yeah, 25 years. This was not an accident. I mean, you look back at what devices Apple came out with starting in 1998 when Steve Jobs came back and launched the iMac, and you start to see a pretty clear trend. 2001, the iPod. That was the first real successful manifestation of the Apple ecosystem because you had the best MP3 player and you had the best computer to tie it to. And they had to coexist because you couldn't just have an iPod and no computer. And then you get to the iPhone. You couldn't even activate the iPhone without a Mac. And then the iPad comes along, and then the Apple Watch, and you can really start to see that as Apple evolved over the past 20 years, it's been with that one singular goal of this user is going to come to us for every computing need. And now, well, they got us. We're trapped. There's not much that other smartphone manufacturers can do to get me out of it. But while you might not be able to escape Apple's grasp, what you certainly can do is leave a like on this video and subscribe so you don't miss more. Let me know what you think about this whole situation. Would you ever consider switching to an Android phone? Or if you are on an Android phone, would you ever switch to an iPhone? Let me know that stuff in the comments below. And as usual, I'll see you guys in the next one.